Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about Pete Buttigieg sitting down with Andrew Callaghan and discussing Israel. All right, let's get into this. So first of all, I do want to say I have a lot of opinions about Israel, and but I've been very careful. I'm pro Zionism. I believe that no land claim in the world is stronger than Israel's claim to every single inch of Israel, including Gaza. All of it, like every inch, right? So I'm super pro Israel, super pro Zionist, and I see absolutely no difference between pro Zionism and pro Israel, right? You're not like, you can't be like, I'm pro American, I just don't believe you guys have the right to live on the land you're on. You pick one, right? And if you're pro and if you are anti-Zionist, I think you are anti-Semitic. Period. There's no daylight between those two for me. Okay, so so I just wanted to I wanted you to know where my stance is, right? But I also realize this is hecka dangerous territory, right? Like, people are hot about this. And the only reason I'm taking the time to even talk about it is I care about it. I really love the Jewish people. They're some of my favorite people in the world. They're particularly special people to me. I really love the Japanese. I love America first. I love the Japanese people. I love the Jewish people. There's just people in the world that, like, I just think are cooler than others. They're not more valuable. They're not like we're all equal. You know, all humans are valuable. But some are cooler. I just really think the Jewish people, they're God's favorite people, and that means they're special to me, right? And I am ride or die for them. Period. I'm ride or die for the Japanese people too, and I'm ride or die for America. Like, it's just that's DMX. That's the way it is, right? So Pete Buttigieg comes out, and I was like, whoa, Pete Buttigieg is around, right? And he was on Andrew Callaghan. So Andrew Callaghan is, he's Channel 5 News. He's special. So who's Andrew Callaghan? So he is a millennial who has broken the old news model. And if somebody sits down with them, like Andrew Callaghan, he's very pro-Palestine. I'm not really down with that. So I don't like him from that perspective. I don't like a lot of his stances. But one of the things I do like, I like him being in the space as a journalist. And the reason why is if you sit down with him, right? Like, if you go to MSNBC, Fox, you go to CNN, all those mainstream media, right? They're like, oh, where's your list of things we can't ask? Is there anything you need us to help you accomplish? Or like, we're in the, are you left? We're in the bag for you. Are you right? We're in the bag for you. Whatever you want, whatever you need, right? And like, there's like just this super weird power collaboration between, there's like, it's just all agenda on those, on those mainstream sites. And like, I don't take any of them serious as real news sources. I just don't, right? But Andrew Callaghan, at least he's trying to break the mold, right? And so Pete Buttigieg sits down with him and says, and so just sitting down with him, I give points to Pete Buttigieg. It's a show of, it's a display of courage, right? Because I know there was no list of forbidden questions. I know Andrew Callaghan is going to be genuine in his questions. And if Pete Buttigieg says a bunch of BS or starts the nonsense, oh, I'm a politician, let me give you an answer that you already know my answer, Andrew Callaghan's gonna be like, hey, you can check that noise, man. Like, that's not what you were invited here for. And so I love that Andrew Callaghan does that. So Andrew Callaghan says, hey, what's the deal with Israel-Palestine? And puts it right to Pete Buttigieg, right? And so Pete Buttigieg is like, ugh, I don't like answering this because I gotta say 15 things first, right? And that I love that he was like, hey, I gotta give you this pat answer. And so he's like, let me just say the pat answer I would have said previously, and then I'll say the real deal, right? And I was extremely impressed with Pete Buttigieg in this interview. He was just like, hey, let's kick it out, man. Let's do it, right? So, and he was just very genuine and was actually answering the question. And guess what? He did say something real. He said the quiet part loud. Okay, let's get into it. What did he say? So what he said, which I thought was fascinating, was he said, yeah, we're in a strange space. And where we are now is that Israel is like being pro-Israel. Actually, he was like here we go. He said, being for Israel, being pro-Israel is no longer bipartisan. It's no longer a bipartisan issue, right? And then okay, now get this, right? Pete Buttigieg, dyed in the wool, left liberal Democrat, right? Dyed in the wool, left liberal Democrat. Just said it. Said the quiet part loud. He's like, being pro-Israel is no longer a bipartisan issue, right? Now, then he caught himself because he was like, oh man, I just said something real. Darn it, right? And he immediately said, it's still a bipartisan issue, right? But the problem is the butt part doesn't matter. Any good communicator is like, hey, everything after the butt, you can ignore that. And I'm ignoring the part where he said it is a bipartisan issue. I'm paying attention to the part where he said the quiet part loud, where he said the truth, in my humble opinion. He said it. Being pro-Israel is no longer a bipartisan issue, right? Now, let me interpret that for you, okay? Let me convert that to layman terms, okay? What's that mean? Yeah, we all get it. Democrats hate Jews. Republicans love Jews, period. That's it. It's that simple, right? It's that simple. And it used to not be, right? And you're like, well, wait, no. Democrats are just anti-Zionist. No, anti-Zionist is a patch you put over your anti-Semitism. It's not real, right? And I'm calling it out. If you're anti-Zionist, you're just an anti-Semite. You are just an anti-Semite. You stand the World War II mustache man. I'm not going to pretend different, right? I don't think, and actually, Pete Buttigieg was actually like, I'm pro-Israel, right? And which I think, but he's also but he gave so many caveats and gave so much, and stand Palestine the way he's required to as a Democrat to keep his Democrat badge, right? But he was kind of like, oh, I have to say this, right? And he literally said before, he's like, well, there's stuff I have to say, right, to even discuss this, right? But he said the quiet part loud, right? This is no longer a bipartisan issue. Democrats hate Jews and Republicans love Jews, period. I just voted for Trump, right? And the reason why is I am down, I am ride or die for Jews, period. For Israel, for all of it. They're my people, right? I'm not Jewish. They're my people in that they are God's favorite people, and I am God's favorite people. Literally, my Jesus salvation puts me into a special category of people where God's like, I'll see you in heaven, buddy, right? Now, I will say this. The Jews are God's favorite people, but that doesn't guarantee them salvation. They still have to believe in Jesus to get to heaven. There are Messianic Jews. All right, so I just wanted to be clear about that. But this was a fantastic statement, and I just found it absolutely fascinating. And I really appreciate that Pete Buttigieg, he immediately backed it out because he knew he said the but because he was like, oh crap, I said something truthful. I better undo that. I'm still a politician, right? Wink, wink, wink. But I heard it, you heard it. He was 100% right? Being pro-Israel is no longer a bipartisan issue. It is split red-blue, right? If you're blue, you hate Jewish people. If you're red, you love Jewish people. It's at the macro. There are certainly exceptions on both sides, but at the macro, at the 51%, that's it. That's it, right? And none of us need to pretend for 1 second that the Democrat Party hasn't gone completely anti-Semitic. It has, period, right? Which is super ironic because for a long time, the Blues and the Democrats got a lot of Jewish support, which I think is eroding right now because even very liberal left Jewish people are like, oh man, that's a lot of anti-Semitism over there on the left liberal Democrat side. And I think Pete Buttigieg said the quiet part loud. Said the quiet part loud. Being pro-Israel is no longer a bipartisan issue. There's nobody pro-Israel on the left. There's nobody left. Nobody. Every single word at the macro level, there's a couple exceptions, but if you take the macro level, Blue is against Jews, red is for. It's that simple. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic, please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.